Ron Glasberg is one of UofC's most iconic professors. He's not afraid to encourage students to ask questions and engage their curiosity about the world through a subjective lens. He empowers students to think for themselves while also giving them a lot to consider. We did a retrospective interview with Glasberg, who we interviewed on NUTV 11 years ago. Here's what he had to say.
My name is Ron Glasberg, and I teach everything. I'm not really kidding. There's a sense in which I want to open to students the deepest principles of reality. I know this sounds really vain, but I like to teach two things, reality with a capital R and truth with a capital T. But I approach that by the fundamental cultural assumptions of different civilizations, just to be more specific. I also teach a course in the paranormal, and so I'm also kind of out of this world.
So in reference to your previous interview that you did with us, what questions should people be asking themselves in society today?
What's the purpose and value of education? Should we be abandoning an understanding of the human condition for the sake of just becoming job seekers? I know that's easy to say, I've got a job, right? And I'm speaking from a position of unbelievable privilege, and I'm telling people, don't worry about your job. I also tell them, see if you can still focus on what you're passionate about. Also, explore what you're curious about. In other words, if life isn't worth living, why bother? And if a job doesn't ultimately make you feel alive, why do it? What I'm suggesting is everyone needs to go back to the drawing board and rethink everything: the nature of wealth, the purpose of human life, what makes human life meaningful. And that's something that comes out of the liberal arts. And that's something I think that you can't get a job at. And I think in some sense, the government would say, well, if you can't get a job at it, why should we fund a university? Can't you just do this in your spare time? Sure you can, but everyone's too busy trying to survive, so how can they do it in their spare time? So, as far as I'm concerned, people should spend twice the amount of time they're doing, twice the amount of time they have for education at the university, and it should be funded so that people don't have to pay through the nose, because that's the only way you're going to solve these problems, by developing a public that's not just educated in the professions, but has an understanding of the human condition and how economics, the meaning of life, history, and all these other things, philosophy, all work together. There's no reason you couldn't have university education that goes on throughout a person's entire life and have that as the highest of social goods, and it's funded like healthcare, so that people are always coming to university and are always learning, have the opportunity to do that, and they aren't impoverished thereby. But somehow this doesn't fit in with the profit motive and the competitive motive, which to them is the essence of excellence. Like, we would have only lousy universities and lousy education if we didn't make this as rough as possible and spit out those who don't achieve excellence, whatever the hell excellence is.
What does excellence mean to you?
Oh, you don't want to hear what it means to me. No, I'm kidding. You would hear. I mean, there is a good side to it. It means that you have produced something of incredible value through incredibly hard work. But in whose eyes? In the eyes of granting agencies? In the eyes of my peers, Frankly, I have no peers. Just kidding. Of course I have peers. But the issue is, I really don't see the world in the same way. Peers means the norm in a discipline. And if we don't go beyond the norm, which is what a paranormal is, we'll never change things. So I don't agree with the peer-based system of excellence. If you ask me what excellence is, it's wild and crazy originality.
What advice do you have for students or just young people?
Don't give up on your passion. You have the rest of your life to be miserable doing what you hate. So start off by doing what you love, or at least trying. If it doesn't work out, then you can turn to something you hate and live in a totally miserable, wretched life. Just kidding, it's not going to be that bad. But when you get down to it, yeah, like, really, you have, as far as we know, you've only got one life. Why not find out what your passion is too? Does the university help you to do that? I don't know. But it's not the university's fault. Like, if the system is so fear-inspiring that you don't even raise the question of what your passion is, then you won't do it.
What gives you inner peace despite the tumultuous, unfair nature of
the fact that I can, what gives me inner peace? The fact that I can try. And that's the most important thing of all. Oh, I know I'll fail. And maybe most people will. But at the end of the day, if you can say you tried, that's better than nothing.